Points.
Good day to you one and all, and welcome to another episode of the Broad Points Podcast. I am your host, the broad that points, the broad with the points. It's me, Tyler, the lady. And in addition to it being a good day for one and all, happy Mindfulness Monday. Happy 11/11. I've referred to it before on this podcast here, but 11/11 is often a time or a day when people are wishing things into their life. It's got spiritual meaning, it has sentimental meaning, and it really is a time to realign with your purpose, to really focus on what we want to cultivate in this life. And I personally want to cultivate more gratitude. I woke up this morning and I just have so many things to be grateful, as we all do, no matter where we are, no matter what is going on. There is something for us to be grateful for. And, the sun, it takes 11 years for it to do a full rotation. So maybe you're not all the way to your goal yet. But how many steps have you already accomplished on your journey? Today is a day to reflect on your journey, to reflect on your purpose, to reflect on your goals. And know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Right? You have the space, you have the time, you have the energy. Maybe perhaps it's not allocated into the places that you want it to be. But what a better day than today than to make room for what you want in your life. Yeah, from time to time, we start to carry a little bit more than maybe we can manage. From time to time, we have to make an audit of our life. What the heck does that look like, Tyler? What does that mean? Well, in some instances, it can be an audit of social media. Maybe you find that when you scroll your social media, you're finding some toxicity that is not benefiting your mental health. Aside from also maybe auditing how much time you spend on social media, another way to approach it, you can decide who you want to see. You can decide how much time you want to spend on any particular site. It doesn't have to be social media. Maybe, you like to go down just random Food Network recipe rabbit holes. I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting here. Another way that we can audit our life is by checking in and seeing, where is our energy going? What are we spending our energy on? Who are we spending our energy on? And although sometimes we may want to keep people in our lives and we may want to continue to dedicate energy to them, maybe it's not at the capacity that we once were. I think that it's very important every week. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how often it comes for you, but every week here, I take out the trash. If I didn't take out the trash every single week, my house would be piled with garbage. Oh my gosh. And I can't even begin to think about the smell. The smell would be so incredibly terrible. Ew. It's the same thing with your life. From time to time, you have to take out the trash. From time to time, you have to look at what worked for you and what didn't. So let's jump in with a tool before we jump in with the fundamental phrase today. Why? Because I feel like switching it up. A tool to help audit your life. This can be a weekly practice. This can be a daily practice. This can be a monthly practice. Write down. Make 2 columns. Just a line down the middle of your page. 1 column. What worked? Other column. What didn't work? What a better way to audit than to have a list of things that worked for you and a list of things that didn't work for you. It's so important to give ourselves, one, the visual cues, but also the reminder and the permission to let go. Because by letting go of things, we're making room. We're allowing that space to grow and to flourish in other areas of our lives. Now, let's jump into the fundamental phrase of the week, because it also just folds so beautifully into 11:11 and realigning with your purpose. It is a quote from my good friend Shakespeare. It is, "This above all, to thine own self be true." This above all, you guys, above everything else, above everything you hear in contrast, be true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself. And I love this quote so much. This is from Hamlet. This is Polonius. He says this as his final words of advice to his son in Hamlet. And it is so beautiful. I got it tattooed on my ribs. This is actually a quote that I live by regularly. I have it tattooed on my body. I believe so deeply in this. Above all else, to thine own self be true. And it's funny because I would say that I got this tattoo for family, but honestly, I got this tattoo for me. And I think tattoos are so funny to assign meaning to them. And I think in life, everything can always transition and everything can always change. We're not just constantly viewing the same stories. And I'm not going to lie, for a while there, my tattoos did have kind of some sadder meaning. And I remember a friend of mine one time talking to me and being like, "Why do you want to remember such sad things?" And, you know, without the dark times, we can't appreciate the light. And so I think it's really healthy to keep a balanced perspective. Also, I think it's important to not lie. If you want a tattoo, you can get a tattoo. Do your research, know what you want, be able to plan. Again, there's only so much space on your body, right? If you use it all up, or if you map it out in a way that you can't fit all the things you desire, it just takes a little bit of thoughtfulness. It takes a little bit of mindfulness. Plan. Know how you want your body, your mind to look, how you want to think about the things that you have portrayed on you, right? This above all, to thine own self be true on my ribs is a constant reminder that I have to choose myself. When other people in my life who I love very deeply are questioning me or putting me down, whether they mean it in a positive or negative way, I have to choose what to filter out. I have to choose what to take with me. And ultimately, I decide. You know, my mother, speaking of tattoos, she told me for years that I could not get a tattoo. She just kept telling me that I needed to wait and that tattoos were forever and that they were, I don't know really what was going on in her head, but she was very against tattoos. My dad, I could understand being against tattoos because he was like deathly afraid of needles. But, also in addition to his like scar quote, which we talked about in the last episode, it's just about what you want. It really is. I will say that I do advise against, being young and having your young friends with no experience tattoo you. I've just heard and witnessed some horror stories. I've seen a lot of things spelled wrong. If you're going to get words, you guys, you double check those words. Like when I got this quote, I read it, I reread it, I had my friend read it. I noticed that there wasn't a period on the end. I was like, but there's no period. We need to have the period. It's a sentence. It ends with a period. And I remember my tattoo artist, I love her so much. She's like one of the only tattoo artists that I will go back to. She's done majority of my work. She was like, I can freehand a period. Which I should have known. Like, she's a professional. She can do a dot. Like, I believe in her ability to do a dot. She's done a lot of other pieces on me. She's such a fast tattoo artist. I think that there's a lot of really slow tattoo artists that maybe it's just their skill level. Maybe they're milking you for money. I can't tell. The tattoos that I have, they went by really fast, except for one from this guy who, it was just the most ridiculous tattoo because all he was doing was touching up from some fallout that I had a beginner tattoo artist do. This is why I'm advising against it, you guys. Do your research. Find artists that you like. Find artists that do things that you're interested in. And when you bring your ideas to a tattoo artist that has vibes that you like, they're really able to dive in creatively and embellish tattoos in ways that you couldn't have imagined, in ways that just make you so happy and so fulfilled. And that's exactly how I feel about my tattoos these days. So, I haven't actually gotten a tattoo in a lot of days. It's years, literal years it's been since I got a new tattoo. So it's forever, you guys. Just think about it. Be mindful. If you want to do it, you can do it when you're of age. But in the meantime, take the time, do the research, be patient. And, for me, I did do a lot of auditing in my life so that I could be true to myself. I've had to say goodbye to places. I've had to say goodbye to people that just were no longer serving me and my purpose, my mission. They weren't maybe allowing me to focus on my goals. Maybe they weren't making me feel great about myself, right? There's just some people that they have this toxic way of being to where you have to limit your time with them. And I'm not going to lie, I've said it before, misery, it loves company. When you try to leave someone toxic, they are going to try and scratch and claw their way back to you and keep you down on their level. And it really is about choosing yourself, about choosing your goals. And my move to the desert, that was about me. It was about wanting a brighter future. Yes, that is a joke about the sun. I came from Seattle most recently, you guys. Before that, it was Alaska, bouncing back and forth. I'm still thawing out. I'm still, getting rid of all of the excess moisture from Washington State of just years of living in the dark, years of being rained on. And I'm not gonna lie, I was an emo kid. I loved it. I loved that dark, sad crap. Like, that was totally my vibe for a lot of years. And then the more I got into hiking, after my abusive relationship that I had been in, my controlling relationship that I had been in, I started hiking every single week. And I realized that, one, it sucked to hike in the rain, but two, I needed nature. I needed to feel connected to the earth. I wanted to feel connected to the earth. It allowed me to feel more aligned with who I am. And maybe it's something about climbing mountains. Maybe it's like the finish, the gratitude of finishing the trail, of like, yeah, I did that, victory. I love it. It's always just made me feel so good. It's allowed me to just appreciate the earth, the ground we walk on. You know, in Washington, I appreciated the trees. The trees are something that I still can't get over. You know, we have palm trees, we have some eucalyptus down here. There's a couple other varieties of trees down here, but the trails are so much different here. So walking through, there's a lot of cacti. You know, there's a lot of droppings on the trail this weekend. Matt and I actually did our loop trail, is what we call it, because it's 3 trails that connect together. We park up at the top of the hill, and then we walk down, and this trail is about 8 miles. To do is walking from where we park our car to our front door. Yeah, we can walk from trails to our front door. From, you know, one trail to my doorstep, it's 1.5 miles. Like, we have options on the severity or length of the trail that we would like to do around here, and we can do them pretty much any day of the year. It's something that just spoke so deeply to me. You know, to have something that's accessible was always really tough for me. Like, having to drive, oh my gosh, in traffic, not to mention the distance, to get to some of the trails in Washington that I wanted to go to. I was willing to do it. I enjoy driving. It's just not always reasonable. And especially like trying to get people to go with you. Honestly, I just hiked alone. And a lot of people don't like that, but I mean, I'm just being true to myself, y'all. Like, I'm very cautious. I know the trails. I look them up in advance. I personally hike with the Garmin watch. It has a track me feature. I'm not going to lie, they are expensive watches, but if you do hike alone, maybe invest in one. Maybe look into it, because safety is also important, right? Making sure that you can find your way back. And the loop trail's great because, I mean, I just end up at my door. It's kind of hard to get lost on it. I will not lie, going back the other way, going up the hill is probably about 400 more feet of elevation, and you can get lost in the desert up there. I don't know why. It's easier to see the trail coming down than it is going up through that desert area right there. But we did not get lost. We made it, and before we did that hike, actually, we had walked 3 miles, so we ended up getting 11 miles in before 11:11. So that was just beautiful. It was such a good day to be out in nature. It's such a good day to connect with myself. I had been sick last week. I know. Are you tired of me saying that I've been sick? Because I am sick of it. I hate being sick. But, you know, Matt had the ick. All of the out-of-towners are back in town here. The traffic is more noticeable, but still not as bad as Seattle or LA. Again, it's why I moved. I don't like traffic. I like the small town vibes. I really enjoyed local summer when everybody else was gone from here. But now that people are here, they're coming from all over the world, you guys. People come from all over the world to visit this place that I now call home. And it just makes me so happy because I'm like, yeah, I just made the decision to live here full time. I'm going to be indoors no matter what, in any place, for some kind of inclement weather. Now, whether that be snow, rain, tornado, tsunami, maybe a little dust storm, maybe a little excess heat, there are ways that humanity has found for us to survive all of those things from indoors or on high land, all of which I have here. I live on a hill. I love this hill. When it was raining and it was kind of like flooding down in the valley, I was perched atop my hill because why? I have made the decisions to align myself in a place where I feel most like myself, in a place that makes me happy. And, it takes perseverance. It takes patience to find where you want to be and who you want to be and what you want to focus on. But I'm giving you the permission. Not that you needed my permission, but maybe you wanted to hear it from someone. You have the permission to figure out what you want in your life. You have permission to figure out who you want to be and where you want to go. And, I think it's so important in these times to really speak your truth and to ask for what you want, because it's your life. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. It's your life. Other people can have suggestions. Other people are entitled to their opinions, but it is your life, and you just need to focus on how you feel, on your goals, on what you want. And, I'm going to put out a holiday coaching offer. If you're a listener of the Broad Points podcast and maybe you have some goals that you want to work on, I'm putting out a 4-session package. It's $50 a session, and you can either do weekly or bi-weekly sessions to focus on your goals, to really allow coaching to work for you, right? I'm a coach. I am a certified coach. Not a lot of people can say that they are certified. Not a lot of people can say that they went to school to be a coach. I'm here to tell you, I'm here to partner with you if you want to work on yourself, if you want to go somewhere that maybe you're not going. Maybe you've stalled out and you want to know why. Let's talk about it. I have a link on my Instagram you can find there, and you can schedule a discovery call with me and just mention Broad Points and mention this package, and we can get you going. Like I said, weekly or bi-weekly, 4 sessions, hour-long sessions, $50 a session. They're not usually $50, people. So this is a fantastic deal. If you're a listener, if you want to work on some goals, snatch it up while you can. It'll be for the whole month of November. The whole month of November, I'm going to offer this deal to you, right? And you know what else I'm offering? My Patreon, y'all. Patreon.com/TylerTheLady. It's up. It's running. I've got a poem up there. I've got a recipe up there. I call it my beef and all the vegetables chili. Because why? Chili can be so darn heavy. It can be just such a gut bomb. And I love chili. I really do. Now I have my own recipe all typed up, written out for you with all of the instructions. It is available for single purchase. It is also available by subscription. You can subscribe to my Patreon for as low as $3. Maybe you don't care about recipes. You don't need them, right? $3 a month. You can get art, you can get poetry, you can get meditations. It'll be on there. Maybe you want those recipes. $5 a month. You get access to all of the art and the recipes. Yes, original, tried and true recipes. I am such a foodie. I love food so much. I love to share food with those that I love. And I'm not in the same location as a lot of people that I love these days. When they come into town or I'm in town, I will absolutely cook for you. However, if I'm not there and you want to feel a little bit of that love, now you have access to my recipes. You have access to them on Patreon. One day, probably we're going to get a book out there with them just as a collective. But in the meantime, you can buy them one-off or you can subscribe to my Patreon. Patreon.com/TylerTheLady. And maybe, you're feeling like you need some new boots for hiking. You were inspired by my 11-mile day, and now you're like, man, I really want a new pair of hiking boots. I hiked in my Xero boots. I love them so much. I feel like I am more connected to the earth. My feet are working appropriately so that I'm fully engaged with my hike. You know, I'm thinking about where I'm gonna step, really feeling my pattern, my step pattern as I go along, you know, all of the ledges. There's a lot of ledges on this trail that we did this weekend. I felt so good. I felt so great. And, you know, if you want a pair of Xero shoes for yourself, they have hiking boots, they have hiking shoes. Maybe you're more of a low profile, you don't want the ankle support. It's really, the world is your oyster. They have so many options. If you live in the snow even, I saw that they just released some new alpine boots. I would love them. I honestly wish that I could justify buying them. There's no snow in the desert. Like, if I go to the snow, like, it's just, I can't even say if I go to the snow because it's not going to happen. Like, honestly, Matt and I have 2 front-wheel drive, low-profile cars. Our cars are so low to the ground that, like, when it snows, like, yeah, front-wheel drive is great to drive in the snow. However, if you can't clear the snow, like, my car is not a snowplow. It's not made to be a snowplow. It's real low, so it could plow some snow, but it could also just really damage my whole entire front end. So we're not going to the snow. I can't justify buying the alpine boots, but maybe you want to buy them for yourself. Xeroshoes.com/go/Tyler the Lady. And if you don't have enough things to do with all of these new and wonderful offers that I have given you, well, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends, your loved ones, your family members. That is how we grow. That is how we build community. And you know, I just feel like the listeners that I have, we're growing. We're growing together. We really are building a community. So thank you for all of your listens. Thank you for all of your likes, your shares, your subscribes already. Again, gratitude on this day of 11/11 to cultivate more things to be grateful for. And if you want to reach out to me, if you want to follow me in a legal way, you can do so on social media at Broadpoints or at Tyler the Lady. And if you want to email me, maybe you want to email me about this special offer, this special coaching offer, you absolutely can. broadpointspodcast@gmail.com. Now, one more time with that fundamental phrase for the week. This above all, to thine own self be true.